children to work up to full potential. But beyond potential, what we are most concerned about is the values that the children are getting, and through the values, their behavior, which is basically what we are all about. We are trying to instill Catholic values into our youngsters.
The Minoa Union School was built in 1912 as part of the public school system. The building housed the high school and much of the elementary school. Since 1982, this has been the home of the Fremont Christian Academy, which is part of the ministry of the First Baptist Church of East Syracuse.
Because this is a Christian school, it has definitely a totally different philosophy than what you would find in a public school. The reason for our existence is so that we can help develop within our students a God-centered perspective on the world, and we try to teach our students to evaluate all things in light of God's Word. We believe God is the author of all truth, and that no subject area, no matter what it is, can be fully understood apart from God. So we're not a Christian school just because all of our teachers are Christians or because we have chapel, but because our philosophy is definitely based on God's Word, and God is the author of all truth.
The center of the village in Minoa looks a little different now than it did 100 years ago. Behind me is McMahon's Grocery and the fire department, and behind that is the old Minoa School, which is now the Fremont Christian Academy. This is what it looked like 100 years ago, thanks to Conrad Shoemaker, who built a racetrack across the street from his home to train his horses. We'll be back in just a minute.
Are you highly inquisitive? Do you love the challenge of answering questions that are uncommon, imaginative, and sometimes zany? Well, then why don't you join your friends and family in watching the exciting, fast-paced game of Quick Recall, High Quiz. It's a question-answer game based on great events, personalities, art, music, sports, literature, math, and science. How much trivia can you remember? Why don't you join us and see? That's High Quiz.
The coaches. The athlete of the week. The events.
And often a whole lot more. Hi, I'm Jack Morse. Join us each week, Wednesdays at 10:30 p.m. and Fridays at 7 o'clock for a look at the high school and amateur sport scenes on Cable 13.
We talk about the history of the railroad in central New York without mentioning East Syracuse in the same breath, since the village was born as a direct result of the railroad. In 1839, the Syracuse and Utica rail lines were laid and replaced the Erie Canal as the major source of transportation. Some 30 years later, a facility was needed for switching and repairs. 150 acres of farmland near Messina Springs was purchased in 1872, and the village came into existence almost immediately as a result of the railroad men and their families. 9 years after the rail yard was in operation, the village of East Syracuse became the only incorporated village in the town of DeWitt.
A village within a town. I'm in East Syracuse, and we're surrounded literally by the town of DeWitt. East Syracuse is about 2 square miles in area and is governed by a board of 4 trustees and a mayor, all elected to 2-year terms.
Well, each one of the trustees is more or less works with a different department in the village. One works with DPW, one with recreation, one with the police, and one with the fire department, and we have to kind of split up those duties amongst the board. And that's the way it's handled. Of course, we all work together on the budget when that thing comes due, and it takes quite a bit of time to work on that, and we try to work together and do the best we can to keep the tax rate down.
The East Syracuse Board of Trustees is made up of members who span many years as residents of the village. Board members recall the days gone by in this railroad community.
In 1945, I was setting up as a household, and we were being charged $20 a month rent, which contrasts rather sharply with what we have today. We did not have the facilities that we normally expect at the present time, and the village was a great deal different from what it is now. In 1945, we had the steamers. We're just getting ready to go into the diesels. And the village area was about 5 degrees warmer than the rest of the county because of the smoke and the steam which was generated here by the steamers.
In my youth, why, you pretty much entertained yourself. You played ball, you went down the ball diamond, and believe it or not, played hockey in the road, that is not on skates, but they didn't plow the roads then. It was icy, and you really could enjoy yourself. Very few cars, people didn't have the cars at that time that they have now.
It was a small community. Everything you needed was right here. Growing up was kind of getting a bunch of kids together and go out down the ball field, find a bat and a ball somewhere, and go out and play baseball. Going behind the school and throw some baskets. No nets on the baskets, of course, because somebody always come along and took them off for some reason. And there was always a soda shop down in the corner, which was Temple's Dairy. And there was a convoy. He kind of hung around there after, say, 8 o'clock at night or something for about a half hour or so before he had to be home. The witching hour, which was 9 o'clock.
Well, I guess, you know, when you're talking about growing up, I go back to the days when we had the old coal engines on the railroad. And you couldn't walk down the street without getting a cinder in your eye. And, of course, that's all changed. I'm not happy with what's happened with the railroad because there's a lot of people in our community that are laid off from the railroad. I would rather see the railroad booming like it used to, but, of course, we didn't have to put up with a problem with the cinders because they'd gone to the diesel engines anyway. But, well, I guess as you think about it, back when I was a young fella, I used to have to either ride a bike or bum a ride to Green Lake to go to swimming. And now you don't have to do that any longer. We have our own pool down here, and we have a lot more recreation programs than we had when I was younger. And
there's no doubt that East Syracuse is a tightly knit family. Board members are proud to point out the attributes of this bedroom community.
East Syracuse, I think it's a very nice little village. It's an ideal place to live, as far as your different services, and I don't think you can beat the economy of it.
Just the maintenance of the streets and everything else. Everything's always plowed in the winter. I think the recreation program in the village is really good. You know, the pool was, you know, I think you'll find a lot of village residents think that was a real good investment over time.
This is one place where any taxpayer can come in and speak his piece, and they listen to him. And over the years, I've heard some doozies come in here, and they always get an honest answer. If they can help them, they will. If they can't help them, some things people ask for are impossible. But all in all the men that have served on the boards here, I mean, have tried to do their best. So I can be the opposition party and still get along with all these fellas.
East Syracuse is protected by its own police department, headed by Chief Bill Peverly.
Police department's come a long way in the last 100 years. From the constable, they eventually graduated to a law enforcement agency. The interesting thing about the police department, and I think you find that in small communities anyway, is that initially the first couple of chiefs that they were people that were here for a long time. I think it was in a gentleman by the name of Mickey Wren. He was a police chief, and he was here for 20, 30 years. And with that decline in the railroad has come not only a decline in population, but a change in policing. Before, you had more of a transit trade. You had the robust, if you will, railroad community where they're out working hard all day long, and after work they'd stop at the local taverns and have a few drinks, and they had some rowdy evenings and so forth, and that kept the officers a little busier. Fortunately, today we don't have that type of activity.
Also housed in the municipal center is the village fire department. And when this all-volunteer force isn't out fighting fires, they've managed to accumulate a phenomenal amount of trophies throughout the years.
What you see here is only about a fourth of that success. Ron Russell III, the son of the ex-mayor of Syracuse, is now its fire chief and a lifelong East Syracuse resident.
It's been around since 1887 when it was formed. We protect the village of East Syracuse and most of the central and northern part of the town of DeWitt. Includes heavy industries such as Carrier, Chrysler, General Electric, a few major highways like 690, 481 and the Thruway. And in the village itself, our major industry would be Bristol Laboratories to the west.
East Syracuse has adjusted well to the changes resulting from the exiting of the railroad. Many new businesses have opened that maintain a strong identity to the railroad. One is Marco's Golden Spike Restaurant. Doubling the size of the building Marco's has been in for 17 years indicates the support this village has given to a restaurant that boasts the largest railroad spike in the world, out in front of the Manlius Street building.
So when I first time come to East Syracuse, I thought it's not much, but I beginning to like it and love it. Nice place, nice people. They treat me nice, right. I treat them back.
East Syracuse Chevrolet has been a member of the village since 1927. It now occupies about 70,000 square feet, prominent along the main street in East Syracuse. It's that village closeness that owner Sid Greenberg says makes business a pleasure in East Syracuse.
Well, it's really my home. I spend a great deal more time here than I do at my home. I've been involved in this operation since 1949. I started as a mere gosling, and I know most of the people here. I get here in the morning without even giving it a thought. I don't know how I arrive. All I know is that 25 minutes after I leave, I show up here. And I'm here till all hours, and most of our people, I really should say all of our people, the people we employ, I think have the same feeling. It's really our home.
East Syracuse is unique in the fact that it has its own gas company, independent of Niagara Mohawk, the Suburban Gas Company.
Syracuse Suburban Gas was a part of a large conglomerate of small utilities throughout the Northeast, and they were issued a non-expiring franchise for this area. And in 1934, the Carver family and their descendants purchased this company, and they've been running ever since.
Now, who do you supply gas to?
The people of the village of East Syracuse and the northern part of the town of DeWitt.
And that you also included some industrial clients in this too, aren't you?
Yes, we have some of the major industries in the Syracuse area. We have Chrysler, Carrier, Bristol, Oberhofer's Foundry.
This was originally Northwood Tennis Club, opened up in 1969, and when we purchased the club in 1979, we changed the name to First String. It was a centrally located tennis club in central New York. And from there, we acquired the name Sundown East due to our sister club's name in Liverpool, Sundown Liverpool. So we were the second of the Sundowns, of which there are now 4. Originally, Northwood, being the first tennis club here in Syracuse, was just indoor tennis. And it was right in the heart of the tennis boom in the early 1970s. Since then, tennis has leveled off a little bit. The market was overbuilt, and by adding racquetball and fitness and an indoor track and fitness equipment, we've been able to accommodate more members and have a better offering here at Sundown.
Right next to the railroad tracks in East Syracuse is Leo's Big M Market.
We moved in East Syracuse in 1940 in this house here that had the store in the living room. In 1949, we remodeled it and put the first self-service supermarket in town with a new front. And then a few later on, in the 50s, we put on another addition on the side. We went self-service meat, and we put in a deli department that did real well. And in 1961, we built this large building here, which was about 12,000 square feet at that time. And we have a dome roof on there, which is made out of red cedar. We call it a cathedral ceiling. It's 4 inches thick. It's very attractive. My dad liked that, but he got it. It was a strong railroad town when we came in. In fact, everything was painted brown and black, and we didn't see a lot of colors on the main street because the old trains burning coal. It was kind of like Cinder City. In fact, the biggest thing we had to get used to was getting the cinders out of our eyes, because the main street was really flooded with cinders. And as we tore several or 8 houses down, in between the partitions, it was loaded with cinders. Made good insulation in those days.
Like many communities in the early 1900s, the villages of East Syracuse and Minoa depended on a single schoolhouse to educate their children. But as these communities grew, so did the number of school buildings. Because of shifts in population and the need to economize, the New York State Board of Regents ordered consolidation among school systems wherever possible in the 1940s. After much debate, the former sporting rivals, East Syracuse and Minoa, decided to consolidate their school systems. Lee Rising became the assistant superintendent of schools during this merger.
And we had grown from a 380 pupil school in 1933 to about 1,400 in 1955, same building. So we had kids all over the place. We had them in St. Mary's Hall and the Methodist Church basement and upstairs in the Village Hall. Fremont, one of the other operating schools, had 3 houses down on Davis Street, and East Syracuse had 3 houses over on Center Street where they had kids. We were 70 classrooms short when we consolidated.
I think probably when you begin to look at what we're trying to do, and I think what generally parents and community members want from their schools, they want us to teach young people how to read, how to compute, how to write, how to be certainly functionally literate, and at the same time also hopefully develop a reliable standard of right and wrong. And I think our agenda, when you begin to look at what's happened over the years and as we look into the next decade, will focus on competence and hopefully character.
Open, shut them, open, shut them, to your shoulders slide.
Building character begins early in the East Syracuse school system with the pre-K program for 3- and 4-year-olds.
We have a developmental program in that we work with each child in the 4 areas of development: physical, social, emotional, and cognitive. We have a very strong parent program. Many of our parents come with their child to the class, and we have our own parent educator. We have a health aspect to our program. We have our own pre-K nurse who tests every child for vision and hearing and does workshops for parents on health issues.
This is a parenting program, and the parents are required to attend the parenting program while their child is experiencing a pre-K 2-hour program. We meet once a week for 2 hours. I have 8 classes of parents, and we discuss generally child development issues.
Well, I've had 3 children in the program, and my middle son, Joey, he was very shy. And the program's helped him to experience school at an early age, where if he'd waited around at home that he would, you know, have been more attached to me. But going to the school early, he got an idea how to follow directions at school and the routine of the teachers and how to behave.
This is my 3rd one in the program, too, and I think it's great. I love the social contact for them. Mine are all very shy. And like I say, we don't get a lot of social contact out in Kirkville.
It gives him a chance to be with children, to play with toys and experience painting and playing in the sand table and doing things that you usually don't do at home. It gives him a chance to be with other kids and play with different things.
It's a great district to be associated with. The quality of the staff is excellent. We have some really fine teachers that are in the classroom working day to day, providing excellent programs for our kids. And that's the bottom line, what's going on for the kids, and I think we provide an excellent program for our children. We tend to be a traditional school, very concerned about the basics, the skills, especially reading and math skills. And, but we, I think, provide some unique experiences for kids in applying those skills. But I guess if I had to classify us, we're a traditional school.
Oh, this is tremendous. This is an excellent group. It really is an excellent group to work with.
He's nice. No, he's nice.
Yeah.
You don't give a lot of homework. He tells jokes. He has gerbils.
There are times when it's pretty difficult to keep them interested because it's pretty basic stuff, but we try to do as many different things as we can and as many interesting things as we can. Try to vary the subjects, the areas and the subjects, the social studies, the science especially, which are really areas of interest for the kids. We try to do as many different topics there as we can, and I think they'll stay interested if I look interested. If they know that I'm interested in what I'm doing, they're going to follow along.
We have about 340 students. We also house a pre-K program. I guess you've had an opportunity to visit pre-K.
but primarily the school serves grades 4, 5, and 6. And these students generally would come from the central area of the school district, the Woodland, Fremont area in the school district. But I can't say enough about ESM, not because I'm here. I live in the school district, my children go to school here, and both have received a beautiful education. We're very supportive, the central office staff, in terms of money and materials being available when it comes to program for children.
This is a 10 through 12 comprehensive high school, central high school. There are 1,050 students in here, and we offer about 174 different courses to students at this level. I think we have a lot of innovative programs. We have a lot of effort and time put into the enrichment programs. We have the core program is substantial, and at the other end we have a tremendous amount of effort put into the programs for handicapping and things of that nature. I feel that there's a lot of growth. Since 1965, when I came here, when the high school was first centralized, we've had a lot of growth. It was a very school which the majority of students did not go on to college. In those days, we had about 19% of the students going on to school. And today we have about 2/3 of all the students who graduate here go on to post-secondary education. So we've shown a lot of growth in the 20-year period that I've been here.
Last year, we started off with 13 computers in a small room tucked in the corner. And since then, we've expanded to 32 computers just in this room alone. We have classes that go on all day long on one side, and then we have a lab available for teachers and students to come in during the day. So students can come in anytime during the day, during study hall, after school. Before school, it's crazy around here. During school, it's crazy around here. And after school, the kids come in and do their word processing. They come in, they've set up files, they do projects for the school. I would say most of our seniors can do all of their term papers on word processing, and some of our more advanced students are even doing spreadsheets to predict their college costs.
These first and second grade students will someday be a part of those high school championship teams. Toby Gowan continues this preparation at the 6th grade level at Fremont Elementary.
The sound mind and a sound body, besides the socializing factor, they get to be with their peers, and they have to follow rules and cooperate with each other, and that's very important at this level. The youngsters are still self-oriented, as individuals will be, and hopefully when they have to learn to cooperate with one another for their team to be successful or their small group to be successful, it helps them to understand their feelings and their friends' feelings and how they react, and it helps them learn tolerance for children who may not have the same ability that they have, and they recognize that encouragement is far better than yelling at their teammate for making a mistake, and hopefully that's one of our objectives as far as socializing.
Jim Gorney is the elementary physical education teacher at Minoa Elementary School, and he's also the cross-country and track coach at ESM High School. Coach Gorney says it's never too early to start getting students interested in track and field.
Basically, to start a track and field program, you have to start down in the 4th grade and get them going in physical education classes. We have a track and field meet for physical education classes in grades 4, 5, and 6 that covers the whole district, and that's where the program starts. You have to reach the kids in the 4th grade or even earlier if you can, but that's where you have to introduce track and field. So after that, they go into a junior high program of cross-country and spring track. And we've had giant teams. The last few years, we've had as many as 120 junior high school kids out for track and field in the spring. The elementary school kids they come in fired up every single day. I mean, the phys ed class is seems to be their best class, so they look forward to it. If they ever miss a phys ed class, they would be hurt. So they're always fired up. It's easy to work with those kids and get their enjoyment level up because it's already there. They look forward to it.
So we get a great deal of support from our district. In fact, most of the programs have been expanding throughout the last few years, where the enrollment in the school has been decreasing, but the participation in interscholastic athletics has been increasing. And we also have a real good coaching staff. I think that the people put the time and effort into handling the programs, as you said, have a certain amount of discipline attached to their programs, and the kids who participate, I think, enjoy their basic participation in the program and look forward to continuing through from the 7th grade level all the way through to the varsity competition at their junior and senior year.
It's a good school. You can take a lot of courses and a lot of different courses. You can take college courses, and the sports programs are good. All the teams are good, usually in varsity.
From what I've heard, this has a better education, ESM does. I like it better than any local schools I've heard of, because I like my friends here, I like the teachers.
Personally, I like the chance that you can take some college courses here and then transfer them to colleges, so you can get, like, I'm taking SUBA English, so you can get that out of the way before you go into college.
The faculty's pretty good. I mean, they can teach us a lot. They've all, and then we have college classes offered to us that we can, start a lot of our college education ahead of time and get credit for high school too. So that's good for me because I can get a lot of my college classes out of the way now. So when I go to college, I'll have a lot more free time to pursue other interests.
It's a friendly community. We're in walking distance to schools, churches, small shopping area on Main Street. We're in close proximity to shopping centers and major highways. It's a great place to raise a family.
I think the nicest thing about Minoa is the fact that it can be called a rural community in almost an urban setting. We are off the beaten path, so to speak. As a matter of fact, if you look at most maps of the state of New York, you will not see the village of Minoa on them. We don't have a Route 20 or a Route 5 or a Route 11 going through the middle of us. We don't have a traffic light. In many ways, we're the ideal rural-type village or community and all the closeness and familiarity that goes with that. And yet we're 5 to 10 minutes away from downtown, major shopping centers, and any other activity that anyone would like to pursue. So we have the best of both worlds, I think.
It's a good community. My wife and I have been very fortunate. We've developed many good friendships here in East Syracuse, Minoa, both professionally and socially in the community. There are a great many programs available for our children to participate in. Recreational program, East Syracuse, Minoa being right in the middle of the town of Manlius and the town of DeWitt, and working in conjunction with them, we have an awful lot of activities for the children between the schools and the town recreation departments.
Oh, I think this is an excellent community to live in. Very a small community, very friendly community. And you've got the mixture of homes. Some people like the older homes, you're going to find them here. If they like the newer homes, they're going to find those here too. And of course, with the transportation the way it is now, you're so close to just about anything that you'd want to get to, the malls, theaters. Downtown Syracuse is 20 minutes away. So it's an ideal, I think, an ideal community to live in.
As a village, well, I guess my best statement is I can walk the streets at night and never be afraid of what's going to happen to me or my wife or any of my grandchildren or anything else.
The villages of East Syracuse and Minoa have undergone dramatic changes over the years. They both grew up with the railroads in their backyards, but now they've become important bedroom communities to the people of Onondaga County. After meeting the people who care so much about the future of these two villages, we hope that you're feeling more at home in Minoa and East Syracuse.